Hello friends, I am Kathy and welcome to the Global Pulse. Israel has continued waves and waves of attacks on Gaza to completely wipe out Hamas, but unfortunately innocent civilians have been on target. Israel, surrounded by attacks on the safe zone in the war, know how are the current conditions in Rafah. The war between Israel and Hamas, which started on October 7th last year, is becoming even more dangerous now. For the past 3 weeks, the Israeli army has intensified operations in Rafah. Rafah was the city where more than 1 million refugees from Gaza had taken shelter. In this situation, it is necessary to understand why the Israeli army launched swift attacks in Rafah. The situation in Rafah city of the Gaza Strip is deteriorating. The Israeli army has been launching intense attacks here for 3 weeks. Due to the Israeli attacks, the condition of the people living in Rafah is worsening. According to the news agency AP, the Israeli army is deployed at every entry point of Gaza. Therefore, humanitarian aid is also unable to reach here. This indicates that the Israeli army is carrying out ground attacks and intensifying in Rafah. On one hand, Israel is being criticized worldwide for its actions in Rafah. On the other hand, Israel says that the war will continue until Hamas is eliminated. Rafah was the only city in the Gaza Strip where millions of Palestinians sought refuge. Not only that, humanitarian aid was also being provided throughout the Gaza Strip from Rafah. In such a situation, the question arises, why is the Israeli army taking such harsh actions in Rafah? What is Israel's purpose behind the attacks on Rafah? The Israeli army's operation in Rafah started on May 6. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had mentioned the operation in Rafah on February 9. He had said that his goal is to eliminate Hamas. He claims that there are 4 Hamas battalions in the city of Rafah. In February, Netanyahu had said that until the 4 Hamas battalions in Rafah are eliminated, the objective of this war will not be achieved. At that time, a statement issued by the Israeli PM's office stated that before conducting a major operation in Rafah, it is necessary to evacuate the civilians living there. So the Prime Minister has requested the Israeli Defense Forces IDF to safely evacuate the people there and to end the Hamas battalions. Netanyahu had said that Israeli military action will only stop when Hamas is completely eliminated. He said, "If we do not eliminate Hamas terrorists, these new Nazis can commit the next genocide at any time." He also said that not allowing the Israeli army to enter Rafah would be like surrendering the war. Now, about Israeli action in Rafah. 7 months after the war with Hamas began on October 7th, the Israeli army launched an operation in Rafah on May 6. The IDF claimed to have killed 20 Hamas fighters and found 3 tunnels. The Israeli army claims to have completely taken over the Gaza Strip border with Egypt. This border is only 100 meters wide and 13 kilometers long. The Israeli army has deemed this border as Hamas' lifeline, claiming that through this border, Hamas smuggles weapons into Gaza. The Israeli army also claimed to have found 20 tunnels used for weapon smuggling. On May 20th, the IDF claimed to have killed 30 Hamas fighters. During that time, the IDF not only intensified ground attacks in Rafah but also escalated aerial attacks. On May 27th, the IDF conducted the most terrifying and lethal attack in Rafah. The Israeli army carried out aerial attacks on a relief camp in Rafah. Israel dropped 900 kilogram bombs on the relief camp. It was the first time Israel targeted the relief camp. In this attack, Hamas claimed that 45 civilians were killed. Israel faced worldwide criticism for the attack on the relief camp. Following this, Netanyahu described the incident as a tragic accident. Addressing the Israeli parliament, Netanyahu said, "Despite all efforts to avoid harming those not involved in this war, a tragic accident occurred last night. We will investigate this matter." However, immediately after the attack, the IDF claimed that they had targeted a Hamas stronghold. The IDF claimed to have killed 2 top Hamas commanders, Yassin Rabia and Khalid Nayar in this attack. Now, the question arises, why is Rafah so important? This war began after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7 last year. Following this, Israel launched an assault on the Gaza Strip. At that time, Netanyahu described it as a war against Hamas. Israel considers Hamas a terrorist organization. After starting the war against Hamas in Gaza, Israel urged civilians to move from the north to the south. Rafah city is located in the south of Gaza. Before October 7, the population here was 300,000. However, after Israel's attacks, the population increased to 1.4 million, with more than 1.1 million being refugees. Rafah was significant because it was the only city in Gaza not bordering Israel. The Rafah crossing was located on the Egypt-Gaza border, and all humanitarian aid to Gaza came through here. However, after intensified Israeli attacks in Rafah, this crossing has also been closed. According to Felipe Lazzarini of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees UNRWA, over 1 million people have left Rafah in the past 3 weeks. Meanwhile, in the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas, more than 37,000 people have died in almost 8 months. Millions of people are forced to live like refugees and are residing in relief camps. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the latest updates from global events. Goodbye for now and see you soon.